Yes, let's move on to the story. Disaster management in KwaZulu-Natal is on high alert. This is following severe weather warnings. The SA Weather Service has a level 5 warning in place, saying heavy disruptive rain is expected. Now, there are fears that this could lead to widespread flooding. Areas identified as potentially high risk include Big Hlabisa, Hluwe, Jozini, KwaDukuza, Richmond, Nongoma, Umzumbe, as well as Newcastle, amongst others. So let's get the latest now on the situation at this hour from KZN MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Sihle Zikalala. MEC Zikalala, always a pleasure speaking to you. A very good afternoon. I'm sure we're not wanting a repeat of what happened in April last year, but of course we cannot control the weather, and that is the unfortunate part. But are we prepared for this, for the flooding or potential flooding as a result of the heavy downpour that is said to be anticipated?
Yes, we do not want a repeat of what we experienced in April and May last year. We can confirm that our state of readiness is at high level. We've issued warning and alerts to all areas that have been pointed by the forecast. On areas that are along the coast, it is said that we might expect a rainfall that is at level 9. And level 9 will be remembered that it is one of those that are high, heavy rains amounting or equal to the rain we experienced in April last year that resulted in disaster. Our teams are all over across all areas. We have set a number of engagements with technical teams, and this morning we had a meeting with all mayors so that we take the process down and get people who are in affected or possible affected areas on board. Our plans entail to evacuate people who are in low flood or areas that are prone to disasters, close bridges and roads that are risky, ensure that we have a coordinating center that include SAPS, SNDF, the provincial disaster teams, and then have that link going down to all municipalities. While in the coastal areas and in the district of Umkungundlovu, the forecast says we might experience level 9. In the inland, it is not also safe because they are saying rains might be at level 5, which is still heavy, but better than the forecast for the coastal districts.
Yeah. MEC, as you're saying that there are those particular areas where it's predicted that we'll have level 9, for example, of potential rainfall. Many a times what we found is that community members become reluctant to vacate their homes. Many of them don't even know where to go to. You know, you're saying that you've issued warnings, but it's something to issue a warning. It's another thing where you get people prepared to leave their homes in search for shelter and safety. Is there that contingency plan that has been made that, you know, should, and it's a big should here because we are hoping that it does not happen, but should we experience a situation where we need to evacuate community members from their homes, we can do so quite speedily, and we can actually take them to places that have got dignity, that are livable, so that we're not caught off guard again?
You are quite correct. Yes, we have made those plans that in case there are heavy rains, people get evacuated to community service centers where they can stay for a period of that rainfall. But when then the rain goes down, they will be able to go back to their homes. What normally becomes a problem is that community members says it is difficult to leave homes because of criminals. And we have made plans with SAPS that they will be patrolling all areas. But look, when it comes to heavy rains, it will be important that we protect lives of our people. And that's why right now we have teams on the ground, loud hailing, indicating that in case of the rain in each area where people would be able to go and get shelter.
But surely, as a province, KwaZulu-Natal really cannot afford this right now. You're still reeling from what happened in April, May last year. Infrastructure is still damaged, right? You're still working towards rectifying and remedying what already has been lost. And now with these kinds of warnings, I'm sure it's really sending, even as the provincial government, you guys to a tailspin. It's not easy having to manage a province, but also manage the province with potential, flooding that could be on the way once again.
Quite correct. As you are saying, we had floods in April. And when we were beginning to clear areas, we suffered in May last year. Then at the end of the year, at the end of November, we also suffered. And then now we're getting this indication. In some areas, you get a situation like you will start repairing the road. Then there comes the rain again. It wash away everything that you would have done. So we have to work around that situation. It is quite a frustrating environment or situation, but we cannot leave things hanging. We have to be there. We have to provide leadership.
Yeah, as you're saying, that you have to be there, you have to provide leadership, but is there money? Leadership is one thing, but you need a budget to be able to have quite accessible and quite effective contingency plans. Is there money?
Well, I would say no, there is no money, but we have been assisted by government, especially through human settlement. We have been assisted to a certain extent. It doesn't cover everything, but the grant that they've given us, it's helping us to cover the damage incurred in April last year. Not the whole of the damage, but a particular portion. There have been grants sent direct to municipalities, and as the Department of Cooperative, we are following each department that they spend and spend accordingly. We would want to ensure that there is transparency and accountability.
Transparency, accountability, but it also takes time. As it is right now, people that were affected by the April-May floods are still in temporary structures while provincial government is trying to erect something more permanent. Now, with a another disaster on the loom and on the horizon, it adds further pressure to it, right? So where are we, by the way? Let's get there. Where are we with those that have been moved now to temporary structures in the hope to complete the permanent structures, especially for residents, so that you don't have this backlog of people just wanting some kind of living arrangement?
Yeah, yes, you are quite correct, but there has been progress. About 80% of community care centers have been decanted, and people have been moved to dignified areas where they are living as families. And we're working on that. And I think it is quite a few community centers that are remaining. So we will say the work has been done. You must also be mindful that we had two problems. The first is application for money, but the second is access to land, when mostly land would be privately owned, and we need to negotiate and buy land from private owners.